Today we have in house today a very special guest. A very special guest today. No other than Dr. Bevin Wint. Dr. Wint, how are you, sir?
Hey, Alex, I am doing phenomenal, sir. How are you doing?
I can't complain, man, because hey, this is the second show today, my brother. This is the second show. I am honored to have you in house. Second show today, making an impact across the world. So today we're talking to this gentleman because he has been working away in the background. You don't hear very much from him in the social media scene, but he's busy working away, buzzing away, making things happen, building a business. So we're here to talk about your success and the struggles to get to where you are, Dr. Bevin Wint. What has it been like? Now, but let me stop. Let me roll up back because I'm talking as if everybody knows you. Let me roll up a bit. Let me roll up, Dr. Wint. Who are you, sir? Who are you? So the audience gets a vibe of who you are.
All right, brilliant. I just want to say thank you, Alex, for putting on a second show and actually welcoming me on to this fantastic medium. So thank you for all that's joined us. And just tell you about me. My name is Bevin Wint, or Alex said, Dr. Bevin Wint. And a little bit about me is that I was brought up here I was born here, but I was brought up in the lovely Sunshine Island of Jamaica. I did all of my primary and secondary schooling there. I then returned to my birthland here in the United Kingdom, where I went on to go and do biomedical science at a London university, and I did very well at biomedical science. And then I went on to go and pursue medicine at St. George's Medical School. That's where I went on to go and become a qualified medical doctor. And I just believed I had life all worked out. I thought I had chosen the right path for me to go and have the sort of lifestyle that I deserve and desire. But it's upon me participating in that career and actually practicing that career where I found out that it was just another glorified job and that I was still under the control of somebody else. And that's something that I never really associated myself with. I wanted to have my own business. I wanted to be my own boss. And I believe I held a really great position as being a doctor in the occupational field, but it just wasn't fulfilling who I wanted to be or become. So I decided that I needed to make a change. I couldn't stay doing the same thing that I wanted to do. And that's when I went in search for business. And I had the privilege of having a background of business. My parents and grandparents have always been involved in business. So I knew that inertly that was something I had skills that I hadn't developed in. And that's where I got involved in financial education and planning. And I started that this year will be 12 years ago. And that's where the journey began.
I'm going to pull you back there. I'm going to pull you back now because I want to understand. I want my audience to understand the shift that you make, because if you imagine that you spent X amount of years at university, at medical school, to then come out to be a qualified doctor, that's some pound notes involved in that, man. That's some pound notes involved in that. So what was it specifically that made you shift? Something made you shift your mindset from that point.
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. And it was a paradigm shift. I realized after 7 years of study and me looking around at the circumstances, and I remember walking into the hospital one morning and looking at the consultants, the people that I'm aspiring to become or to take their role. And I remember asking myself, if I'm going to go and do this, I need some evidence. I need some evidence that this is where I want to go for the next 20, 25, 30 years of my life. And when I began speaking to these consultants and really finding out what or who they are, see, it's great that these guys are all making six-figure incomes. But when I looked at the balance that they had and the sacrifice they needed to make to attain that, a lot of them told me that they didn't have a great family balance, that their children grew up with them not being really around because of the demands of the shift. A lot of them weren't happy in what they were doing, and a lot of them said if they could change, they would have. And I understand the importance of that, but I realized that's not the lifestyle I wanted to create for myself. See, I had a very different vision of how it would look. And I was being sucked into the age-old way of a job. I was also not particularly happy with how the structure worked with inside the medical field. I wasn't happy with some of the priorities and their ethics and values that really went against what I wanted to achieve. So it was really a combination of all of those put together, what really made me think, I'm not sure if I want to do this. And then if I also add in the fact that you're overworked, underpaid, and unappreciated. And it was a combination of those, Alex, that allowed me to go to think about potentially making a shift into entrepreneurship.
Wow, wow. So there are so many people out there that we assume by virtue of the positions they hold, we look at them and think they've got a fantastic lifestyle. They seem happy. Everything seems, all the ducks seem like they're in row and they're in place, but really they're not at the end of it.
Alex, is such a big, what you just said is huge. And now more than ever, I know this is going to become the most important interview this week. There wasn't another interview this week, was there? So this has now become the number one interview for this week. But again, the mental health side of things, I remember speaking to consultants, and these are people you think would know better, but they have fallen down into a really dark place. When I was speaking to them, I was thinking, wow, is this what it's going to look like for me? And it's something that I was determined to change.
Wow. Do you know, that is amazing to have made those decisions at that stage of your life. You could have done 25 years and then realized that you took the wrong path. That's
100%.
amazing. What a catastrophe that would have been if you did 25 years and then realized that this is, the ladder is up against the wrong wall.
Absolutely. And Alex, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, a lot of people have already recognized that it's their wrong path, but then they allow external factors to determine where they need to be, and they don't build the courage or have the boldness to go and change that. So they know they want to change, they know they're not happy, but as you said, the ladder's on the wrong wall, and they keep climbing the same ladder knowing that it's not leading them to their destination.
Wow, wrong ladder, not destination. So okay, so you made that decision, and then you chose entrepreneurship, or entrepreneurship chose you.
Yeah.
So what was the beginning of the journey that where you are now? What was the beginning of that journey? Because I'm sure it's because you did so many years in education, so you know what it's like to put the hours in to make something happen. And to start a new business means you got to do exactly the same thing again. What was that like?
It was tough. It was really tough. It was a decision that I initially made, but I didn't really realize the implications of the decision. I was there, and I remember first changing over to going to do business. And we all know business is not easy. In fact, there's a stat that says 95% of most businesses fail within its first year. And I can tell you, during my first years of business, it was a tough struggle. It's something that I had to put time into. I had to go through struggles and changes. And there was many times I looked at myself and I said to myself, have I made the right decision here? It's really easy for me to go back into the medical field. They're actually crying out for me to come back. Have I made the correct decision? But it was hard, Alex. I had a lot of outside influences also saying to me, are you sure you've made the right decision?
Yeah, well, I was about to say that to you, because if you're thinking that, can you imagine what your parents are thinking? What did they say?
Initially, they were like, are you sure? Listen, you've studied for 7 years, we put you through med school, and we've only practiced for a few years. Are you sure you're not jumping ship too early? And my outside family, they were like, boy, are you crazy? What are you thinking to go and do business? You've got a career, and a highly respected career. Why don't you just stay on that path?
And if, as a Jamaican and in a Jamaican society, being a doctor, mate, that's the top of the tree.
Being a Jamaican, everybody say, you'd have to be a doctor or a liar.
Hey, that is so wow.
And I went the doctor route. But I also understood that as much as I respect the outside views of everyone, including my parents, I also need to value my opinion above that. And I knew that this cannot be the path for me. See, I'm the one that's going to be in this for the next 20, 25 years. And if I can already have a glimpse into that future to see what it looks like, and I'm not completely comfortable with that, it means I needed to change. And eventually, when I explained this to my parents, who were the biggest factors for me, when I explained to them what it looks like and how I'm feeling about it, I got their support. And in fact, what they said, they say, you know what, we didn't raise no fool. So if this is where you want to go, we're going to be there 100% behind you. And that gave me an added confidence to move forward.
Wow, man, that is massive support to make a shift and to step in. So you're on the journey to become an entrepreneur. Now, being a doctor, what kind of leadership skills did you have to develop then and to help you on this journey?
Wow, it's funny. What kind of leadership skills? Well, first of all, the first skill I needed to do is spell the word. That's how much leadership skills I didn't have. I had to spell the word first. And then I had to develop the different stages of leadership. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm the finished article, because I'm not. Okay. I'm still striving to become a better leader every day. And that's a journey that will never change for as long as I'm on the planet. But I needed to fill myself with the right content, read from those I've gone before, and really align myself with some of those values so I could then become a better leader of myself. It started with me. I needed to lead myself. Before you can become a leader of men and women, you need to be able to be in a position where you can lead yourself. And I found out that I wasn't leading myself. I was a follower, but I wasn't leading. And that's where it began really pouring into myself. And then that literally shone through to where I could help others to do the same.
So what were some of your struggles? Because we have a way in the Western world of looking at the success and thinking, man, yeah, that's great. I want that. That's easy. And we suddenly think, yeah, that's easy to get there. But what were some of the struggles that you went through?
Just the Western world, the instant gratification. I wanted things and I wanted it now. I wanted everything. And that's the world we're in now. We make an order on Amazon now and you want it in the next minute. You want someone knocking your door with it. And that's no different from business. I wanted business success now. And I think initially it wasn't great because I was going into business and expecting a result straight away. And that was one of my biggest struggles. I thought, listen, I'm educated. I've got the right material. I was expecting success right away. And if you're in business, you realize that doesn't always happen. So I was in this period where I was like, wow, struggled with not staying the course. I kept on trying to chop and change. I had the right formula, but then I was looking at something else and not really giving it enough time to embed in. And that was a struggle. Another one of my struggles I had was that of my age. See, I got into entrepreneurship at a relatively young age. So I needed to build my knowledge around things. I needed to build a reputation. And that also takes time. And also understand it's a huge difference moving from being an employee to being an entrepreneur.
Wow.
It's a huge shift.
It's a massive shift. That first one you mentioned, which is what we call the shiny object syndrome. So
Yes.
you're on course doing what you do, and all of a sudden something else comes in front of you. Oh, this is great. This is going to make you X amount. How do you then force yourself to say, no, I need to hang in there? There must be something you're doing to say, I'm blinkered. I'm blinkered. What was it?
After banging my head a few times against a brick wall and making loads of mistakes and really understanding the term, a rolling stone gathers no moss, okay? Really understanding that I couldn't jump from pillar to post. I needed to nail my colors or my mast to the flag, and I needed to stay consistent. I needed to be consistently progressive in this field. I couldn't keep moving because the more I moved, it means I need to develop more other skills, new skills, different products, different services, learn more. And what I was doing, I was becoming really skillful and really knowledgeable in lots of different areas, but I was having no impact because I wasn't staying the course for long enough.
So you were knowledgeable in different areas, but not having the impact. How can that be?
What happens, Alex? So I'm moving from different business. I'm looking at different ways of how to do things, and I'm not allowing it to set. I was impatient. See, I was looking for business to be produced almost instantaneously. Because remember, I've left I've made a decision to leave my career. And I knew that the eyes were prying into me and people were looking at me saying, okay, let me see how he's doing. He's left medicine and let me see how his business is going. And I was like, I need to get a result or it's going to look like I've made the worst decision in history. So I was there chasing the result. And any which way someone would come in, I'll be like, okay, let me do that. Let me change to that. Hoping that would be the magical way to prove that, yes, I made the right decision.
Let me pause you there. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know where you're listening from, where you're joining us from. We have Dr. Bevin Wint in house talking to us about the path to success. And right now he's saying that sometimes because of what we want for our lives so much, we don't stay the course. We keep jumping from one thing to the other. So you create a lot of knowledge, but you have no impact, no real impact on what you want to do because you're not hanging in there and staying the course and you're not staying blinkered. So you've been blinkered for how long? 8, 10, 20 years? How long?
I've been properly blinkered now this year for 6 years.
Wow. 6 years.
This year.
Constant.
No deviation. Just focused.
Focus on one thing.
One thing.
Wow. Now,
one thing.
As a result of your focus, what has that done for your business?
Wow. It's the difference between night and day. When you found your focus, when you understand what you're focusing on, it has a completely different look, feel, and shape to how you move forward. You see, in those 6 years of becoming focused, I've been able to move to different levels in my finances, in my health, in my mental well-being. And it's just that focus of being comfortable with understanding that this is what I'm going to be doing. And I'll be able to achieve several high positions in that 6 years that would normally take, if I was to equivalent this to if I'd stayed as a doctor, what I've done in 6 years in business would have taken me 25 years as a doctor.
Wow. 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 So let me reframe that now. What you have done in 6 years would have taken you 25 years to have done that in your actual profession you were trained in.
100%. And that's the minimum.
What you have done is something what we call collapsing the time frames.
Wow. Absolutely.
What would you recommend to people right now who are trying to collapse the time frames, but they're going about it in a way that is like the shiny object syndrome? They keep jumping, they keep moving around. What would you say to those people about how do you really collapse the time frame so that you can achieve much more in a shorter space of time?
Okay. I was speaking this morning at another event, and I'm going to use this analogy, and a lot of people will relate to this. And I'm going to go back to my original profession as a doctor. When you go into a doctor and for whatever reason, you might have an infection or even a dentist, and they prescribe antibiotics, okay? And they normally prescribe antibiotics for a particular time, okay? So what happens is that most of us will take the antibiotics and let's say it was a 2-week course. And after the first 5 days, we're feeling better. So what we then do is that we stop taking the antibiotics, don't we? Honestly, we don't. We stop taking any more of this. We stop taking it. And within the next week, the pain comes back. And you book an urgent appointment with your doctor again. And then you go and say, doctor, the pain's come back. And then he says, or she says to you, did you complete the course? Hey. And you were like, oh, no, I didn't. I only did it for 5 days. And what they go on to then do is then they prescribe to you again the 2-week course.
Let me stop you there, Dr. Wint, because isn't that crazy that a human being can really think that you don't take fully the treatment you've been given, and when the pain comes back, you go back to the doctor, complain, oh, you didn't
work because you didn't stay the course. And wow. Not only didn't stay the course, you've delayed your success, because now the doctor has said you need to go back and start again for another 2 weeks.
Wow. When you
are doing that in our businesses.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. When you put it like that, man, when you put it like, that's exactly what's happening in business.
It's exactly what's happening in business. So for those of you that have got that shiny object syndrome, you're not staying the course. And every time you change, you're going back to retake and start again. And that's why we can be in business and not be successful for a very long time.
Wow. So you've taken us through the struggles. You're taking us through the mindset shifts, the controlling, maintaining that focus, getting past the shiny object syndrome, collapsing the time frame. So what has been some of the highlights of the successful moments that you look back and you think, wow, I did that? What were some of those moments?
I've got so many, but becoming the youngest executive vice president in one of the largest financial firms in the UK was huge. And for me, I did that at the age of 31. And recently, I also became the youngest senior vice president to become a senior vice president within an organization as well, which is huge for me. Wow. See, I'm about creating an opportunity for others to look at. It doesn't matter about age. It doesn't matter about what color you are or where you're from. But if you've got that determination, you've got that burning desire to do something incredible. See, be strong enough to not allow anyone to crush your dream. You have to understand and you have to know what you know and believe what you believe. And if you have that resonating with you on a daily basis, you can go on to do incredible things. I'm so proud of what I've achieved, but I believe I'm just getting started. I've got huge goals, huge dreams that I'm achieving and are set to achieve. And I'm so excited about what the future can bring.
But do you actually believe that people go out of their way to crush people's dreams? Do you really believe that?
I don't believe they go out of their way to do it in the majority of cases. But it's society right now, Alex, where we're in a society now where people are so beaten up by it. Well, we've got into a society where it's okay just to settle. It's okay just to live and have your head above water. No one wants to reach for the stars anymore. No one wants to dream big anymore. And that's what I want to start to change. It's okay to dream big. It's okay to want to reach for the stars. See, I remember being growing up here in the UK. When I came back to the UK, I had to do 1 year of GCSE studies, and I was in a classroom, and I was in one of the poorer boroughs in London, and I went to one of the worst schools in London because of me coming back from the Caribbean. And I remember being in a classroom with 30 other boys, and the teacher standing up in front of us saying, "None of you will go to university.
Wow.
None of you will become anything."
Wow.
We've got to change the rhetoric. And I remember that to this day. And I remember that teacher saying that in that classroom.
A teacher said that out of their mouths.
Out of their mouths. I remember it clearly. And I have been walking with that. I don't know where this teacher's gone now, but I've been carrying that to prove that teacher wrong. That yes, I did go to university. And yes, I did become a doctor. And yes, I have started a business. And yes, I have become successful.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know where you're listening from, but every young man out there, every young boy that is in your reach, and they're going to school and you don't know what they've been told in the classrooms. You don't know what they've been filtered into their heads. You have got to get it into their heads that they can dream. Am I right, Dr. Bevin?
100%. Don't crush their dream, but enhance it. Get them to think about it. Get them to draw it out.
That's amazing.
See, we
amazing.
need to do that.
So we're in a society that's not encouraging people to dream bigger, that's not encouraging people to push to the full extent of their understanding and their potential. What is it now that you think as a you're not an elder, you're still a young man. You're still a young man. So what is it that you think you can help now bring to this generation of bringing hope to dream, to strive for success? What is it you think you can bring now?
There's two ways I want to tackle that question, Alex. First of all, I want to keep striving, keep setting the bar high,
Yeah.
Keep setting the bar. I want to raise the bar to its highest point. See, I want people to be able to go, wow, if Bevin can do it, I can do it. There's no difference between me and Bevin. I want to keep setting the bar, but I also want to encourage and build others.
Wow.
I want them to be able to come to me and know that I have the blueprint to show them that they can achieve whatever they want to achieve. You see, if
Wow.
we're going to change the mindset of our society, it starts with you.
Wow. If we're going to change the mindset of our society, it starts with you. Now, I want you to see this comment that's come up from outside, Dr. Wint. Let's just see this comment here that says, "This is great. I have a young doctor family member who's going through some tough times now. I will be sending them this." What word can you give to this family right now? They're going through some tough times in their role as a doctor.
What I can say to this family is you need to reevaluate what you want your life to look like. See, my role is not to remove everyone from the NHS. That was my path. But you need to reevaluate what you want your family's life to look like. If you want to continue in that profession, then you need to reevaluate how you're going to make that change. What is your tough time? And I want you to tackle your tough time head on, and you be tougher than your tough time. See, I know it will take sacrifice. I know you'll go through a struggle, but at the end of it, there will be success. So find someone to speak to find someone that you can help to navigate your way through this, and then execute whatever plan you put together, and you'll see that your future will begin to change.
Wow.
There are new companies that have been formed during this pandemic that are having record results. See, you can choose to look at it in two ways. You can sit down and watch all the newses and console Piers Morgan for losing his job, and you can get negative with that and allow it to affect you. Or you can go out and create a new difference. You can go out and find out what service you can offer. You stay the course, and you could end up changing your financial future.
Getting some great interactions here from outside, but Michael's come and said, "Have a great show." He listened for a bit and he's hopping off. He's have a great show. And then we have Helen saying, "Well done, Dr. Bevin." And then we have the gentleman with the advice you've just given about staying focused here. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Wint. It's encouraging in that even in the midst of the negative information coming out, the negative vibes that are coming out, that what you're saying is that people are still being successful. But we don't hear those news. Those news aren't broadcast in our ears. Why is that?
We know why that is not broadcast, Alex. We know that the media portrays a certain rhetoric, and we need to understand that. And if you haven't, I'm telling you now, how many times have you turned on the news and there's been good news? That's their rhetoric. That's what they know is successful for them. And they're staying the course in it. Why? Because they know it's successful. They're not going to change.
Wow.
Understand, whether good or bad, they're staying the course. That's what's brought them success for centuries. So why would they now change? You've got to find out where your course is. Stay the course. Find out where you can be a success, where you can impact the lives of others, where you can find your financial freedom and stay the course.
And I'm thinking, in order for you to be able to think the way you think, develop the understanding the way you've framed it, the base from which you come must have been substantial. Your family behind you must have contributed substantially for the mindset that you now have developed. Am I correct?
I've got an incredible family. I mentioned it earlier with the support. Yes, there were concerns in the beginning, but literally after I explained to them, they were 100% on board. I've got an incredible parents that have poured into me. Even the decision they made to take me from the UK to bring me up in the Caribbean in Jamaica was divine intervention. Now, I don't know where they got that knowledge from. The upbringing I got in the Caribbean, I believe, has set the foundation. Learning from my grandparents and aunties, uncles, and cousins that have been in business, they're the ones that sowed the seed.
Wow.
That allowed that seed to grow, to produce who you see before you today. So my family are incredibly supportive, and they continue to be even up to now.
That is tremendous. You've got people are flowing with questions now, my brother. Times have changed. Our jobs and incomes are no longer guaranteed. What would you say to those who still look at one income only?
Wow, get with the times. Get with the times. We are in a new era right now. We're in a new era right now. We need more than one income. Gone are the days when we could rely on one income. Let me answer that question. Look how hard our nurses have worked over the past 12 months.
Wow.
Look how we've even come out of our houses at 8 o'clock on a Thursday to clap how well they've been doing. Look how they put their lives on the line to keep our country running. And how do they get rewarded? With a 1% increase.
Wow.
Tell me that they don't need another income right now.
Wow.
And these are people at the top of the industry right now in terms of their service that they give. And if we can't give these guys a substantial income, then who can we?
Wow.
It means we need to make a difference. It means we need to build another income or two so we can start to create the lifestyle that you deserve and desire.
And that's true, because the only way I can show you my appreciation is by helping you and your family to grow and be able to afford the lifestyle you want. And so a 1% increase is not going to do much for anyone, for anybody. Listen, Bevin, I love you. And please, we need you. Richard, wow, we need you. We need you, man. It's so important to have these positive vibes going out and talking about how we can help each other, how we can help our mental framework to be successful and to become the success that we're looking for, and to dream bigger, and to get past, and to collapse time frames, my God, and to move from employee to employer, and to get past the age barriers, my God. Man, Bevin, man, you have certainly, in the short space of time that you've been on earth, you are certainly leaving an impact with the people around you, the team that you're developing. What do you see ahead? What's the vision now, Bevin? Imagine that you are in this helicopter. You're now surfacing. You're coming above ground now. You're coming above ground. People are going to begin to see you. What's the vision for the future?
As I've been saying to my parents recently, that the future is definitely bright. It's not orange. For those of you old enough, the future is not orange. The future is bright. And what do I see? Well, I see continued success. But not only for me. I see it for those of you that make a decision and decide that what you have isn't enough, and that we can have an impact that far outreaches our expectation. If we go in with the mindset and the attitude and activity, the MMA, if we go in with that attitude to inspire and change, even if it's just one other person, that can change a community. I want to begin to make real waves in changing how we're portrayed in society. And that's going to come through a collective effort.
When you say how we're portrayed, who are you talking about?
Well, I'm a black man and I'm proud to be a black man. And I just want to say we've had some unjustified criticism of late. And we've gone through a time where prejudice has raised and racism has raised its head. And there's this unconscious bias that's going on right now. And I want to start to create a change in that.
Wow.
But as I said, it all starts with you. You see, they say, how do you climb Mount Everest? It's only one step at a time.
Hey, did you hear that? How do you climb Mount Everest? What is the Mount Everest in your life? It is one step at a time. Hey, Bevin, look at this, man. It says, what a great speech. We are proud of you. You're getting speaking engagements from this, man. I better become your agent here, man. People are looking up saying, we're going to book this guy to come and inspire a generation, come and inspire our people to help shift them from where they are and what they want to do. It's been so great interviewing you today and talking to you about your life and where you're going and the impact you're having in our country and the impact you're having upon a generation of young and old people. As you said, you're not a senior.
Senior yet. I'm a senior.
Sorry?
I'm a senior vice president, but I'm not a senior yet.